What's going on, everybody? Brendan here, and it's the middle of August. I have a couple of free hands, at least in the morning, and I'm in the mood to dig. So we're headed up to the Goodwill outlet, otherwise known as the Goodwill bins. I'm taking you along for the ride. Now, the last couple of times that I've been to the outlet, I've had a lot of success. So I'm hoping to capitalize on that momentum and keep that momentum moving forward. So let's go and see what we can find. Let's get moving.
Okay, so right off the bat, I find a pair of floral, like velvety Coach slippers, size 10B women's. Save the soles. They look like they were never worn. Look at the insoles, look at the uppers. They are in amazing condition. They have like a horse bit, which is a popular style right now. I'm going to list those for $50. I think this style was called Haley. The bins is such a strange mix of shoes that should have never made like the retail store floor in the first place because of their condition, and then shoes like that look like they were, hardly ever worn. They were certainly very well kept. So I'm taking those, and there's just so many people here when the shoe rotation comes out. So I'm obviously looking for singles. I had some like Converse lift platform style shoes. There was like a leather chunky midsole and sole on one of the other ones. I don't think I found either of them. And that is par for the course when you're shopping at the Goodwill outlet. Single shoes. Every now and then you'll get a good batch where they've like rubber banded each pair, and it makes it so much easier to grab. But it is forever looking for that other shoe. But look, I got to be really happy with the pair that I have. That's a $50 pair. At least that's what I am going to list them for. So let's dig and dig and dig and see if we can find the other half of the two pairs of Converse. I think that was either Brooks or Asics that had too much wear on the soles. But yeah, you ever look at these and you're like, how did this pair of shoes even make it onto a retail store floor? Now, I do know that these outlets get shipments that never make it to a store. It goes directly to the outlet. I am definitely aware of that. But more often than not, this stuff was sitting on store shelves, so the quality control issue, whatever it is, what it is. That was an UGG. I think that was an UGG men's boot. Here again, I couldn't find the other one. I will definitely start looking more at the fall-related shoes, so boots, absolutely. In fact, I will show you a few of the things that I did not catch on camera that I did find while I was out here sourcing. One of them is a pair of Uggs. You'll see them at the end of the video when we head home. Another nice looking Converse, but without the laces. I don't even care if I can't find the other one. I don't want to have to purchase laces. I have some Nike backup laces that I keep on hand. Not so much Converse, and I suggest if you're a reseller, you do those things. That way it's a little less of a pain when you see something in store, you see something at the bins that's only got one lace or one of the ones that's broken, you can replace it. So I keep some on hand, mainly for Nike, because Nike is the brand that I carry the most. But I want to know your opinion of all of the brands that I sell from a shoe perspective. Nike is selling the slowest for me. Brooks is definitely the one that's selling the best. And this, you have to take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt. It's a very small sample size that I work with. It's one man's opinion. But so based on the Nikes that I am carrying, they just are selling so much slower. Huge brand, lots of styles, lots of sizes to consider. But Brooks definitely sells with a little bit more ease for me than Nike does right now, and I feel like it's been that way for basically the entire year. So, and I, if you're asking me how many I'm carrying, it's almost like 2 to 3 to a 1 ratio, like the amount of Nikes that I'm carrying relative to the amount of Brooks. So just food for thought. I don't know if Nikes are selling slow for you, if they're flying off the shelves, but again, my sample size is very small, so keep that in mind. And we're going to take a look at some of the clothing bins that have just been rolled out. This is a fresh-ish load, and it has been kind of picked over, but I feel like a lot of the gold sits at the bottom. So if you're willing to really dig and really get to the bottom, and of course I'm doing this with one hand. I know a lot of people have mentioned you should bring the GoPro in there. I honestly, as strange as it may seem, I would much rather film with the iPhone in my hand because I can control things a little bit better than I can. And honestly, I shoot with a GoPro Hero 7 Silver, and the thing, I've never been able to operate it properly. It always gives me issues. It's never perfect, so I kind of hate my GoPro, so I'm filming with my iPhone. And I know it's hard to get all the way to the bottom when you're doing this with one hand, but it is what it is. I like to show you the brands that I pick up. You see a lot of Old Navy, a lot of Gap in my area, and I'm sure that's how it is in lots of the outlets across the country, and you guys can relate to that. But I do like showing you each tag where I can, and I just do it with one hand. It is what it is. So this is a Sonoma. I don't think I've ever sourced Sonoma. I don't even know where Sonoma is found. Where do you find that at? Anywho, this video was recorded on August 16th, and in Cleveland, for those of you that don't know, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Last night was the Morgan Wallen concert in Cleveland. I have to be totally honest with you. I do not understand the appeal of Morgan Wallen, but I understand he's extremely popular. And in fact, I think Miranda Lambert was also at this concert. I'm curious to know if anybody that watches me that's in Cleveland went to the show last night. How was it? How is he as a performer? How's the crowd response? Does it rival? It almost seems like his popularity is so high right now, and I only have trouble understanding it because his music is boring to me. But not all country music, if it is country music, right? Or is it pop music? I think it's country music. Not all country music is boring to me. I will listen to it. But does the crowd response rival that of like a Taylor Swift or a Billie Eilish? Like, is he on that level yet? I don't know a ton about him. And like I said, I've listened to like a couple seconds of his stuff. It just doesn't move me. But that's just me. That's just me. You know, different strokes for different folks. But if you went to the concert in Cleveland, let me know how it was. And if you have seen Morgan Wallen in general, just what type of show is it? Because if it's fun, you know, and it's entertaining and exciting, it's not something that I would pass on, you know, because I'm here to have a good time just like everybody else. So let me know how it goes. As far as reselling, he was selling a hat. I think it's called the Norris hat. I'll put comps on the screen. That is selling for big money. His 2025 tour shirt is selling for like $100. But I feel like the shirts, they start at like $60, $70 nowadays. I don't know, artists are charging a ton for merchandise because there's just not a lot of ways for them to make money. So look out for that hat. You know, if you can find it on Marketplace or something like that. I'm not really sure. But is it a good gig or not? Anyway, look at this canvas bag. This is an aloe canvas bag, and I believe that says across it, mindful movement. So these aloe bags, these canvas bags, big time bolo. Put them on your list. I have the graffiti style, and so I'm going to get $50 for that bag, if you can believe that. And then I also found what looks to be a brand new without tags, Lululemon, camo, large logo, adjustable trucker hat. That's an amazing find. Absolutely clean. Probably $30 on that. And just a couple of random hats. This dinner bell hat, $10, $15. I'm not really sure. And then the Tampa Bay, it's the Rays, but it used to be the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. This is I want to say it's vintage OC cap. I might list that for like 15 or 20. And then the dinner bell hat, 10 to 15. But the camo Lululemon hat definitely sell in the $30 range. And those aloe bags, you really got to keep your eye out for them. I think, if I remember correctly, because it is already listed, that I'm the only one that has it in that style. So, dude, I'm telling you, those canvas aloe bags, keep your eye out for them. Big time bolo, lots of solds in the last 90 days. What else have we got cooking in the bags? I'm late to this rotation. I was digging through some of the clothing, and then these kind of snuck out, and I missed them at the beginning. So I'm picking these things up after the fact. But this is great. I mean, this is like proof that you can kind of walk in. You don't always have to be, right in line, ready to go to the next fresh bin. There's always stuff to find if you are willing to dig and willing to do it for long enough. I don't know how some of the people that basically live at the bins do it, because it is quite a grind. Maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. This Coach bag could have been something, but there were some flaws. Clean on the inside. See that? Like, it looks like a clean exterior, but then if you look at this pull tag, when I flip it over, it was starting to fall apart, and I noticed right after that, you see that? I don't love that. Could I glue it and get away with it? Sure. But then I started to see some like fraying on the sides, and the quality started to, as I looked a little bit closer with a fine-tooth comb, I'm just going to pass on it. I didn't like what I was feeling or what I was seeing after the fact. So that could have been something else too. But we're leaving it. I'm not messing with it. backpacks. We got back to school hitting hard right now. If you guys are not, if you have backpacks in your death pile, get those things listed. The pens, the pencils, the TI-84 calculators, get that stuff up. Do not let it sit. Those things sell year round, but I mean now for sure, you're gonna have a much better chance of selling them quicker than you will, in other months of the year. So get those things up. And if you are in stores right now, or you're headed to stores after you watch this, make sure you're keeping your eye out for backpacks and things of that nature. The kids are going back to school. I cannot wait. It is a blessing and a curse because on one hand I'll miss them, but on the other hand I'm going to actually get some work done. I think I'm going to test this Polo Sport, and I'm like, is this real or is it not real? Like I think it's real. This would be weird to fake. At the time it was faked, if it was fake. So Polo Sport tank top. There's you can see a little bit of discoloration. I'll throw it in the wash, and we'll see what happens after that. Now, if this were the Polo Sport, like Polo spell out tank top, we would be talking $75 to $100. That one, I really don't know how I'm going to price it. It's going to depend on a lot of things, but it is a seller. I don't know how fast it's going to sell, so it just remains to be seen. I'll take a chance on it if I can determine if it is real or not. I think it's real. And then this is a pair of Lululemon, and they're called the Soft Stream high-rise pant. It's a women's size 8. They almost feel spongy. This is a new feeling for me. There's some blemishes that'll wash out, but the way this fabric feels, this spongy feeling, was new to me. And of course that tag on the inside, that thick tag, that's new as well. And so maybe this is like an updated version of some of the items that they're cranking out. Like they don't use those long paper tags in some of the stuff that they're making now, but it felt different. It was very clearly Lululemon. I have mine listed for $35. They're a very good seller, and Lululemon is one of those almost bread and butter items when I'm at the bins. If you know what I'm talking about, it's just something that turns up way more often than not. I almost feel like I find more Lululemon at the outlet than I do in stores, which is, I don't know what to make of that. But it's a pretty reliable brand to find at the bins for me. So $35 on those. I could push them up to $40 if I wanted to. That light gray color is not one that I saw listed. It's possible, but I was using very specific keywords when I was doing my research. So like the little style code that starts with an L, I use that. I always put that in my title. So that's there. But I think 35 is definitely fair. They're a little bit on the heavy side, so I don't think I can ship them, under like 12 or 13 ounces. I think they go over a pound. So 35 is great. Great pair of like nice condition Lululemon. And we will keep on digging to the bottom. Was that awesome? Made in the 2000s. What we have? Some 514s for Levi's, a 3830. I do get a pair of 3830s. I'll show you those when we go home. I'm gonna grab this jersey. It's an adult medium. It almost seems more like a small. So it's a Nike Ohio State Buckeyes football jersey. Reason I'm going to grab it is it's number 4. For those of you that don't know, the current number 4 on Ohio State's roster is Jeremiah Smith, widely regarded as the Heisman frontrunner, widely regarded as the best player in college football right now. So that number 4, and that garment was manufactured in 2009. That might have been the time of San Antonio Holmes, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a minute. But I'm going to grab the number 4, even though it doesn't say Smith on the back, because I think that sells just because it is the number 4, and Jeremiah Smith is, that dude. That was a Weezer Camp Collection shirt that you just saw. I actually have a fish one listed, a very, very similar Camp Collection style. I have that listed for $45. That Weezer shirt, I think I'm going to list for $30. It was marked large. It almost seemed more like a medium. I don't know if that was vintage or not, because Camp Collection has some of those shirts that are very similar, that look very similar, listed right now. So I'm not sure that was vintage, but I thought $30 for the Weezer was fine. I've got a lot of watchers on the fish shirts. So it's probably just a matter of time before that one sells too. And then is anybody else picking up like the vintage Oshkosh B'gosh overalls anymore? The jean ones, those ones were brown. There was a time where those were kind of big. So wondering if it's still a thing. I didn't think it was, sometimes those things fade out, and maybe that is the time we're in. But yeah, there was a time where that stuff was selling pretty well. So I'm gonna leave all of that behind. The Palace shirt, I think that was, what was that, Old Navy. If you find Palace, that's definitely something with a tag that says Palace, the Palace brand. You find those t-shirts, some of those are definitely worth checking out. We've got lots of Apartment 9, same old, same old. What does this say? This is Hot Hattie Bees Chicken. I wonder where that is. That doesn't sound like a Columbus thing, but maybe I'm wrong. What else are we looking at? Pretty clean pair of Abercrombie sweatpants. Probably something I'm also going to pass up. And that might be it. I have some items that I caught that I didn't film that I want to show you. So why don't we check that out now? All right, here's the boots. Kula Bura by UGG. I don't normally pick these up. I think I maybe sold 2 or 3 pairs in my life, but they were pretty clean and they're big. Woman's size 11, so I might be holding on to them for a little while. And I think, all things considered, they're in pretty good condition. So I'm going to list them between $25 and $30. And yes, I will probably hold on to them for a little while longer, but I think the overall condition sells it because they're looking pretty good. These have a tendency to get really beat up, you know, and I don't know how easy it is to clean them, but I thought these were nice enough. Let me check the tag one more time. Where are we at? Women's size, US 11. Style 1015875. Yeah, let's say $30. Be happy if I sold them for $25. It's going to be a couple pounds to ship them because they're a little bit on the heavy side, but you can get absolutely get at least one good full season, and they're not totally destroyed. I mean, they look great. So I don't know. Would you have picked these up? All right, here is the pair of 3830s. These are Ariat relaxed boot. You see that? These are really clean. These didn't get a lot of use at all. It says loop, lock on the back, size 3830. I'm gonna guess and say these are gonna be no more than $25. What I noticed when I was doing my comparable research is the 3832 in this exact style, so Ariat, rebar, relaxed boot. The 3832 size sold really well. This is 2 inches shorter on the inseam, so I don't know how long I'm gonna be carrying them, but you know, they're big and we're at the bin, so what did I pay? $2-3 dollars-ish for them. I still think I can sell them for $25. They are in really, really nice condition, so very lightly worn, if worn at all. I mean, they almost don't even feel, and they still feel like almost newly stiff, so let's say $25. I'm not an expert on Ariat jeans. In fact, jeans is something I think I look at the least out of all of the items in all of the categories. So we will see, but we were at the bins. It was a little bit cheaper. They were in decent condition. They're a size 38, which still sells pretty well. So I don't know, let's put $25 on it and we'll see what happens. Another pair of pants. These are women's size 4 regular. These are cool utility pants. I haven't looked up the exact style on it, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, that's what the back looks like. Cool sells very slow for me as well, except for when we start to creep into fall, which is right now. So I think the timing is right to get these sold a little bit sooner. They're in great shape. They've got a little button here that concerns me. Like, what was supposed to be attached to this? I'm not exactly sure what the use is. So once I get to it, I'll look it up and we'll determine if maybe this is missing something. Hopefully it isn't. One of the things you got to pay attention to in some of these are very spongy pants, and there's like a little elastic drawstring on the inside. Sometimes that's missing, and that's important. So it's one of those small little details that you want to pay attention to. I've missed it before in the past, so I know to pay attention to that now. Yeah, Cool sells their pants, their shorts, their skirts, they all, I mean, even in season, it just sells a little bit slower than I guess I had anticipated. Their jackets do phenomenally well in most cases, but so it's like slowing down on that brand. But women's size 4 utility pants, again, these are in excellent condition if we're talking the bins.
Price-wise, I don't know where they're gonna land. And another one that's probably gonna be $20 to $25. These are very light, so I'll ship them for like $5-6 off to the customer, and that'll be it. But just a little bit of a slow seller for me. And the last pickup of the day is a Travis Scott. That's Cactus Jack, and it's embroidered on the front. And this is like this is called the Cracked Glass Jack Boys hoodie. This is missing the hoodie drawstring, but I don't think that's going to matter. Let me show you the graphic on the back. This is what this looks like. See the cracked glass, and then that says Jack Boys across. It's 100% authentic. I thought I saw one sell for 70-ish, so that's probably what I'll end up listing this one at. Let me pop this open so that you guys can get a look at what the stamp looks like. This is not anything, I don't think he's been around long enough to have anything vintage, but that's what the stamp looks like. Double XL. It says curated by Travis Scott. Jack Boys, cracked glass, let's say 75, without knowing anything else. But yeah, maybe save the best for last. All right, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I got 2 things left to do with my day. I've got to go knock the gym out, and then I'm going to take my youngest and I'm going to teach her how to ride a bike. So we have a very exciting afternoon ahead, and if everything goes according to plan, maybe I will share some of that in a future video with you. So good luck to her. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.